All right, guys. So I thought I'd do something different with this episode. There's still going to be a normal gameplay video coming up, but this one will show some gameplay. I just wanted to go over things first. This is officially the test server for the Project W release. We're talking Resident Evil. It's back with an all-new killer and 2 new survivors. Yeah, he is out now. He's got some really cool abilities. He's got the virulent bound power. The way this thing works, it's a charge up. And as you charge it up, you start to see those, the infection essentially spew out of his hand. And as that gets fully built up, you can use it to do a dash, right? It's almost like the shred attack, right, of the Demogorgon, except he's going out. He could vault things, by the way. He could vault pallets. He could vault even windows. But what happens is if you connect with the survivor while you're doing this, you will either slam them into a nearby obstacle if you run into it, or you will throw the survivor, and if they hit the obstacle, they'll take damage. But the other cool thing is it will then infect them, right? They talk about the special effect, the Ouroboros infection. I'm probably saying that wrong. But yeah, this infection, it builds over time, and then when they're fully infected, they suffer from being hindered. And if they're grabbed and then slammed while they're fully infected, the Mastermind will automatically carry them. So you don't have to go and lean over and pick them up. You will literally just slap them up on your shoulder. It's great. Now, there are first aid sprays, and it's a little bit different from the vaccine that we saw with the Nemesis. The vaccine in this, or essentially the first aid spray, if they spray themselves with it, they get more charges to use, right? They could spray other people too. So it's not quite like the vaccine where it's a one-time and done. There's multiple uses out of these sprays. All right, next up, let's talk about his perks. So he's got superior anatomy, and the way that this works is when a survivor performs a fast vault within 8 meters, this is with the top tier version, the perk activates, and the next time you vault a window, your vaulting speed is increased by 40%. Now here's one thing that I think people might not immediately think of. You don't have to go use that vault right away. You can actually keep it in your pocket and use it later, right? So let's just say you're like, hey, you know what? I feel confident. I've got my bloodlust. We're going to get close. We're going to take the survivor down. You've got this thing ready to go, and the next time you're in the chase with somebody, if they're trying to be sneaky, use a window or whatever else, you could just hop on right through that window super fast, and you'll be right on their butt. It's an interesting perk. I think it's going to be cool to see how this works with him and his chase ability, because remember, he can also use his core ability to get over windows as well, or pallets. But I could see this comboing potentially with some other perks, or some even other killers that sometimes have issues with window chases. Next up, you've got Awakened Awareness, and this is when you're carrying a survivor, right? So you get somebody down, you pick them up, and then you see their aura, or the aura, sorry, of other survivors within 20 meters at top tier. That's a pretty decent range. It's almost like having barbecue and chili, but it's within a close proximity. Anyone that's close to you, you're going to see. And get this is what makes it really cool. Auras revealed that way will stay visible for 2 seconds after you stop carrying the survivor. So not only do you get to carry them, you go slap them up on a hook, whatever else, or if you drop the survivor, by the way. It sounds like if you drop them, you will also still see the survivors for 2 seconds. But you've got that intel, right? You're still going to know that they're behind one of the nearby obstacles or whatever else. You're going to see them. So this is going to make survivors, I think, a little bit more paranoid, especially if people are running this as a teachable on other killers. All right, next up, you've got Terminus. Terminus is also an interesting perk to run. It's definitely for the end game, right? It's not quite a NOED type of perk, but if you've got people wounded or you're going to be making them wounded, right? Let's just say that you're running something like No Way Out. I think that's a perk that could potentially combo with this, because obviously they're both going to be endgame perks. But let's just say you've got that, right? You've got survivors going at the exits. They're trying to get out. They think they're going to be cool. Boom, they trigger No Way Out. Once those doors are powered, once you injure anybody, or if they're already injured, or if they're on a hook, they're going to be broken. That means that they cannot get healed in any way. There's nothing they can do to get healed up. So they're going to stay wounded permanently until, if you look at the text, it's going to be until the exit gates are open, at which point they will still stay broken for an additional 30 seconds. So again, very much an endgame perk. You can put a lot of pressure on survivors, get them wounded, keep them wounded, or if they get rescued off a hook, they're going to stay wounded. There's really no way out of it. There's no way to heal until they get those doors open, and then it's still another 30 seconds at top tier. So pretty cool. Again, this is a very, very fun killer. I'm actually really impressed with him so far, and he's one that I think is going to be a lot of fun to play against as well. I think it's going to be fun on both sides. Now let's talk about the survivors. There's 2 survivors, Ada Wong and Rebecca Chambers. All right, first up, we've got Ada Wong. So she comes straight out of Resident Evil as well. She's one of the, characters from previous games. And talk about how, she was a corporate spy working against the Umbrella Corporation. Was she loyal to Albert Wesker, or was she a double agent? Obviously you're not going to experience a lot of the lore in the actual game itself, but she is a really cool character. Both of these survivors have some cool perks, so let's go over those right now. First up, you've got Wiretap for Ada. And the way that this works is, after you work on generators for a total of 33% of progress, the perk activates, at which point, after repairing a generator for at least 3 seconds, you can install a Wiretap. Now, once a Wiretap is installed, it almost acts like the blast mine in that it's going to make the generator turn yellow to all survivors. They're going to see it across the map no matter where they are. And, get this, when a killer enters within 14 meters of the trap generator, their aura is revealed to all survivors. So, it's something that they can obviously get rid of quickly. It's not going to have an impact like the blast mine does where it blinds them. But, if they kick it, it's gone. But if they don't kick it, there's going to be intel on that thing for up to those 80 seconds. However long that Wiretap's going to last, there's going to be intel. So all survivors are going to get to see where the killer is, what he's doing. Is he chasing? Whatever else. Is he putting down traps? So it's going to be an intel perk for survivors to use. I think it's kind of interesting. I'm excited to use it in the game myself. And, time will tell how useful it is. Next up, you've got Reactive Healing. So this is kind of interesting as well. So the way that this perk works is when you're within 32 meters of another survivor getting injured, you instantly increase your healing progression by 35% of the missing healing progression. So it's something that I think there's diminishing returns on based off the way that it's written, but regardless, you're going to get chunks of health recovery back. And obviously, if you're around multiple people getting injured, this is just going to keep stacking it up. So it's going to make healing a little bit quicker, especially if you're playing in a way that, for example, you're taking hits for other people. It's going to be easier and easier to get healed back up, right? I think this could definitely reward more aggressive teams that are, constantly trying to body block, even running Medal of Man, stuff like that, because this is something that, of course, is going to make it easier and easier to heal each other if you're working in conjunction, try to, help other people. It could also get you some more use out of medkits, stuff like that, if you're running solo, but I do feel like this is more of a survive with friends type of perk. And then lastly, for Ada, you've got low profile. So this is very much a solo type of perk, in my opinion. I don't know if we're going to see too many teams running this, but low profile essentially is you're betting on being the last survivor, right? And, it could apply in teams. For example, if everyone's just got to bail and you're going to be the last one in the match, they can't save you, whatever, they're all wounded. But otherwise, just in general, if you become the last survivor, the perk activates, and then it hides your scratch marks and pools of blood for 90 seconds at top tier. Pretty long time, especially if you're out there trying to look for the hatch, unless the killer can get eyes on you or can hear you, your character making little sounds, footsteps, whatever. Odds are you're going to be super, super stealthy. It's going to be harder and harder for the killer to follow you if you're, running around obstacles, throwing pallets, whatever else, getting some distance. This is something that will absolutely help you be stealthy at the end of the game if you're all on your own. Very cool character, though. This is the one that I'm going to try first, I think. But yeah, this is Ada Wong. She's definitely one of the fancier survivors, too. You can see sporting this dress. No other cosmetics right now. But yeah, this is Ada Wong.
Too bad you won't make it much further.
And last but not least, we have got Rebecca Chambers. So Rebecca, talk about her being a child prodigy, graduating from college at age 18, rookie police officer, stars, all that good stuff. But yeah, she's also an interesting character. There's a perk in here that I find definitely the most interesting of all. We'll get to that in a second. But real quick, let's go ahead and start off with better than new. So upon completing a healing action on another survivor, the targeted survivor gets a 6% speed boost to repairing generators, healing, opening chests, and cleansing totems for 35 seconds. So this will benefit anybody that you take the time to heal, almost kind of make up that gap of time for when you're sitting there healing somebody, right? We've all been there. You're at a generator, somebody comes along, they're wounded, and you're thinking, should we try to rush this gen, or should I take the time to heal, then work on it? And this is something where you might want to prioritize healing them, and then if they continue working with you on that gen, they're going to have that speed boost to make up for some of the time that was lost. Now, the time itself, though, it only lasts 35 seconds, but, it's one of those things, it's like, again, that breaks down the gap of time that you lost when you decided to heal. So So it's interesting. It's definitely an interesting perk. I think it's going to be cool to see if like people actually run this, what sort of impact it's going to have on gen repair speed, or even healing others, opening chests, cleansing totems, for example. Next up, we've got Reassurance. So when you're within 6 meters of a hook survivor, use the active ability to pause their struggle progression for 30 seconds. So you got to be real close, but if you activate this, their struggle is paused. And here's the other cool thing. If they are on the actual struggle phase, it pauses the skill checks. They just completely pause. And hold on, get this right. It's not just a one-time thing. You could use it every 40 seconds, essentially. Not that you'd want to be, because that means people are getting hooked constantly. But you can literally pause their progression as they're on the hook for 30 seconds. That's actually pretty dang huge. It's going to allow for high-pressure rescues to, like, be planned out a little bit better. It's going to save people that are literally just about to die, right? Let's just say there's a killer close by, you can't get the rescue. You can slap this thing and buy yourself a little bit more time. This one is actually really cool. I think this is going to help out teams a lot. I can only imagine, you know, when you're on the hook and you're literally just at that final sliver, you see somebody pop this, it's going to be a freaking epic moment. So yeah, I can't wait to see this one in action. But last but not least, here we go, Hyper Focus. This one I think is the most interesting of all, because this is going to reward skill. This is very much a skill perk. So after hitting a great skill check, when repairing or healing, the perk gains 1 token up to 6 tokens. So each token then goes and increases the chance of getting a skill check by 2%, but also there's a penalty, right? This is going to make it a little bit tougher. The speed of the skill check actually then increases by 4%, and the bonus progression, though, for great skill checks goes up by 30% of its base value. So this is something that if you run this perk, you're going to end up getting yourself more skill checks, right? If you hit a great skill check, boom, you're going to have a higher chance, but it's also going to speed up, but the reward's going to be even better. This perk will absolutely reward people that are really good at getting great skill checks. But obviously, with great risks come great rewards. If you could keep nailing these things, it will let you breeze through gens. But there is a catch. You will lose all your tokens if you get a normal skill check, or if you fail, right, if you blow up a gen or whatever else, or if the action is stopped by any means. So if you just decide, I'm jumping off this thing, it's over. You're going to have to restart it. But there is no delay. So you could jump right back in and try to nail those skill checks. But that is going to do it for this little update here. Like I said, next episode coming up will be a normal gameplay video. I'm going to be playing as the Mastermind first. And then, of course, I'll make some videos on the Survivor play as well. Super cool chapter, though. They've also redone some of the map. You guys will notice with some of the gameplay that I'm showing. They have redone a bit of RPD. It's pretty cool. I think they've made some great edits to it. And there may be variants of it, too. I know one set, I think it was like West Wing or something. There might be like an East Wing variant or something like that. I still have to play and see. The queue times are super long. But stay tuned for that next episode. I know you guys are going to love it. We're going to get to see that Mori in action. And, of course, get to play around with the different add-ons. But if you did enjoy this video, if you want to see me do more of these when chapters come out, let me know. Hit that thumbs up button, leave me a comment down below, and again, stay tuned. Gameplay video is coming up next. But that's it for this one. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you all next time.